My name is Brent Bradley. Originally, I am from a small town, northeast Iowa, called Tripola, but right now I live in Omaha. I've just always really enjoyed making people laugh and performing. It's something that I get a real rush out of, so that's my biggest thing. I like making people laugh, seeing what I can say and how I can say it to get a rise out of people. I mean, I'd love to work with some of these like newer, upcoming comics. Everybody wants to work with an established comic, like Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, but some of these new guys, Mark Normand, guys like that, I think would be really fun to put some time in with. I think I'm pretty generous with my laughter. I just enjoy having a good time, and sometimes for me, the darker the humor, the better. But, I like to bring high energy. I talk a lot about my travels and stuff like that and try to be super relatable, so you can expect energy from me, if nothing else.
All right, guys, how y'all doing tonight? Welcome to Comedy Society here at KPAO Studios. We're so excited to have you tonight. Are you guys ready for your headliner? All right. This guy is part of the Just Relax comedy production team. They run shows all over the Midwest. You can catch him all over at the Backline and other places all over Omaha and Lincoln. Make it loud for the very funny Brent Bradley.
Oh, boy. How's everybody doing? I'm glad you guys are. I have low self-esteem. I've determined, I think it's because of the friends that I keep, I think. This week I heard that I look like Joe Rogan if instead of taekwondo, he was just really into fried dough. And then another friend said that I look like, not so much like Stone Cold Steve Austin, but like Cold Stone Steve Austin, which seems mean. But like the one that hurt the most was a friend of mine said I looked like if I asked a group of toddlers to draw a picture of a bad man. I can't even work that off. Like that's plastic surgery, right? I might need better friends. I guess that's better than what I look like when I'm doing comedy in like liberal areas of America, right? If I'm in Austin or Denver, which is just vaguely racist, right? I don't look that racist in Nebraska, but like over there, I look like I hate the Jews and the blacks, right? I had a lady come up to me and she's like, "You look like one of those Proud Boys." And I was like, well, joke's on you. I'm not even proud of myself, so can't get into the club. It's one of the reasons I'm happy to be back in the Midwest. We're nicer than everybody else, right? At least everybody other than my three friends. The first thing that happened when I moved back from Denver, I got off an airplane in Omaha, and this sweet little old lady was like, "Would you like a Werther's Original?" And I was like, "Oh, for sure, Grandma. I haven't been able to take candy from a stranger in years." I take that back. I did take a Werther's Original from a grandma in Denver once, right? I woke up 24 hours later, naked and moist in a dumpster. Not wet, moist. I feel like that is a distinct difference, right? And not the good moist, right? Like good chocolate cake or WAP. That would have been fantastic. But instead, it was the bad moist, like you're at Grandpa's house, you pick something up to be nice, it's his handkerchief he hasn't washed in 60 years, right? Ugh, gross. I did live in Denver for like 4 or 5 years. Didn't get drugs just given to me as often as I expected, which was weird. I blame my high expectations on the DARE program. Do you remember the DARE program? Yeah, it was real big here in the Midwest. Their motto, I guess, was to resist drugs and violence. And as a small child in an all-white town, I was like, yeah, that's cool, I'm going to do that. And now I'm an adult, and you can pick one. Really? We resist drugs and violence, right? That feels like a one or the other that you're going to get out of me, for sure. And then they had that terrible mascot, Darren the Lion, right? Who was just like super overdramatic. He's like, if you smoke weed once, you'll end up polishing some dude's knob in an alley for crack, and you'll die of a heroin overdose. And I was like, but I was just polishing a knot for crack. How did I die of the heroin overdose? I think that's just a bad drug dealer. And we shouldn't just lump them all into that category, right? About second chances. Funny enough, the dumpster thing, that wasn't the weirdest thing to happen around a dumpster in Denver to me. One night after taking my wife out to dinner, I was walking back to my car, and this homeless man jumped out from behind a dumpster, like all like cockeyed, right? Like he was gonna answer these riddles 3 for me to pass. But instead, he was just like, hey, I'll slob your knob for $10. And I was like, oh my. Actually, my first thought was, that is so cheap. Like, way cheaper than the dinner I just bought my wife, hoping for the same results, right? And I'm from the Midwest, so my first thought was, don't be mean to this guy. So all I could get out was, I don't have any cash. Yeah. So you guys figured it out. Like, I was down for the weird homeless slob knob, right? But like, just couldn't financially complete that transaction. And then he was like, oh, it's cool, man. I pulled out an iPhone. He's like, I got Venmo. Right? I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna hire this guy. What a salesman. Offered me a product, I gave an objection. He overcame that objection. Now I'm finding out the free clinic isn't free. Well played, sir. But I am happy to be home. I'm back in Nebraska. I knew I was home because 2 days after moving back here, I saw an anti-casino ad. Because if there's one thing we hate in Nebraska, it's tax dollars, all right? I don't get it. Grandma can lose her whole Social Security check on Keno and pull tabs. I can't lose my mortgage on blackjack. Seems a little sus. It was the platform they ran it on, right? They go, they're going to build casinos in Nebraska, and they're going to build them next to the schools. Not next to the good schools. Come on. You're going to build it next to my daughter's school, and that's fine. Because that's the only place I can drink whiskey at 8 a.m. and not get judged about it. And, like, the PTA moms aren't turning me in, because they were there half an hour before me getting drunk on Chardonnay. They got figured out they put their kids in the early school programs, get drunk by 9, still got time for a Xanax and a nap before 3. I like it. I'm going to get on that. All right, we'll move on. That's fine. Casinos are controversial in Nebraska. That's cool. Something that shouldn't be. Women multitask way better than men. Do we agree with that? Just the other day, my wife is driving to Target. She's driving with her knee, drinking a Starbucks, scrolling Spotify. Somehow still has the mental bandwidth to remind me that I dated other women before her, so now she's mad at me for some reason. The next day, I took my daughter to school and forgot to drop her off. Yeah. Ended up at the casino next door trying to play cards. Get out of the car and I hear, are we not going to school today? And I was like, oh, shoot. It's a good thing you can talk. Yeah, it's hot today. Man. Daddy was almost a news story, that's what I'm saying. Man, so now I'm trying to rethink everything I've ever done, like how I almost turned my daughter into a honey-baked ham. It was a slow burn. For her, not for me. I was outside of the car. So then I'm just like, no, we're not going to school today. You can't look stupid in front of your kids, right? I was like, I'm going to take you out for the day. We're going to go have fun. We're going to go eat at a restaurant. So we go to this sandwich shop, right? And my daughter looks at me. She's 7. She goes, Daddy, what would presidents be if they were sandwiches? And I was like, did you get into Daddy's gummies? Seems like a 2-gummy thought is what that seems like. And I should know because I'm into it. I had 2 gummies this morning. Let's figure this out together. And I was like, what would they be? What about Obama? What would Obama be if he was a sandwich, right? And I think he'd be a Reuben. okay? Because, like, you got that good rye bread, right? It wasn't whole wheat like some of us wanted, but, you know, we took it. It was better than white. That's fine. Plays both sides of the taste buds. Got the sweetness of the dressing, sourness of the sauerkraut. There are a lot of people that debate whether or not it originated in America, but we liked it anyway, right? Took it. Then I thought about Trump. You know, what would Trump be if he was a sandwich? I think he'd be a Monte Cristo, right? And bear with me, I know I look like I fantasize about QAnon fan fiction, okay? But I think he'd be a Monte Cristo, okay? Because, like, from afar, that looks great. You get up close, just weirdly orange, overly fried, filled with ham and cheese. It is the only sandwich that's ever tried to grab my wife by her pastrami. But if Obama is a Reuben, Trump is a Monte Cristo, Biden is for sure a Sloppy Joe, right? Because, like, we're back to old, crusty white bread. There are people that enjoy it, but let's be honest, it's reserved for church functions and funerals. And I can't let it around my daughter because it always ends up in her hair. Ooh, man, am I glad you guys like that one. Because if you didn't like that one, you weren't going to like that JFK is just an open-faced turkey sandwich. I'm going to start a sandwich shop for sure. Oh, man. On the way home that day, I realized that I hate a lot of things, but I hate basicness the most. I was following a lady in a Jeep with a tire cover on it that said, dream, believe, achieve. So I already want to, like, run myself into a semi. But then it had a picture of Casper on it. Yeah, your confusion is warranted. Because, like, what, if I dream hard enough, like, I too could die at 12? Is that what you're saying? Like, what's next? Dream, believe, achieve, Sleeping Beauty, right? If you dream long enough, a stranger's gonna come touch you inappropriately. Right? Might not even be a stranger. Might just be Father Jim, right? Not a stranger. Anyway, over the pandemic, did you guys watch a lot of TV and stuff over the pandemic? Yeah. I got real into it. I like this movie. You guys like The Avengers? You guys like? Yes. Black Panther? Anybody Black Panther? Awesome. Not racist. Good for y'all. Sweet. I love Black Panther, but what I love even more is that there is a Wakanda in Nebraska. Did you guys know this? Yeah, Lake Wakanda, spelled phonetically, by the way. WA-CON-DA. So you know that is where Black Panther's white trash cousins live, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a white panther there, too. And it has nothing to do with race. It's the color of the meth they cook in them parts. A lot of similarities between them, right? Black Panther's super strong because he's a superhero. White Panther's super strong because meth, right? They're strong. Black Panther's got those sick claws, right? He can slice people up with. White Panther got one long pinky fingernail. That is where the similarities end. Because Black Panther's got no weaknesses, right? He's strong, superhero. White Panther's got a few. Let's see, a few of them are copper wire, catalytic converters. The biggest one is a small white lady named Shirlene with sores all over her arms. And no amount of meth money in the world is going to cure the AIDS she gave him, you know? Oh, groaner. Yeah, I'm divorced, surprise. Happily remarried, though, which is, I think, what has gotten me to this point. I'm not angry about it anymore. I'm just petty, right? I like to send my 7-year-old daughter back to her mom's house doing all the things I know annoy the crap out of her, right? So she goes home and says moist a lot, right? She's constantly rubbing her hands together because she can't stand that sound. every time we're walking and she's singing that song, "Don't Step on a Crack or You'll Break Your Nose Back," I push her every time. She's like, "Oh no, Dad, I broke Mom's back." And I'm like, "Well, somebody's got to, because it ain't your stepdad Brandon, am I right?" Although I'm sure she's heard "Let's Go Brandon" in the bedroom a few times. Yeah. Step on another one, I'll go home and break your stepmom's back. Woo! She's still like young enough that I can say stuff like that. She doesn't know what's going on. It's great. I'm trying to be a good dad. I was bullied a lot as a kid. And I'm deaf in my right ear. I'm half deaf. And so kids were mean to me about it. One day, a kid bounced my head off a brick wall at recess. And I went home, and my mom was picking out extracurricular activities. She was like, "Hey, you can either join Boy Scouts or karate." And I was like, well, I've been bullied incessantly for years. I'm a little depressed. Probably not the right time to probably not the right time to learn how to tie all the different knots. You know what I'm saying? Messed it up, I brought it back. It's a suicide joke. Woo! Yeah. Also, like, having been bullied that much, probably not the time to start sleeping in a tent with strange men. Because at that point in my life, getting touched would have just been the terrible icing on my face, I think, is where it would have been. Right? Yeah. So I'm trying to be a good dad, right? I don't want my daughter to feel things like that. So I'm making her watch Squid Games. Have you guys seen that show? Yes. If you haven't, Squid Games is a show where they make adults play children's games for a lot of money. And if you lose, they kill you. And I just think it's going to reinforce the fact that, like, participation trophies aren't real. You know? I want her to grow up with some values, I guess. I don't know. I do like having kids. I have one, so I have a kid, I guess. Don't correct me. All right. But I hate the dumb questions that come with it. There's always some, right? My daughter was born in Texas. This guy walks up to me and he goes, "What would you do if your daughter was gay?" I was like, "Jesus, Charles? She's a week old, man." And constantly attached to a boob. So if we're keeping score, the lesbians are winning, all right? I'm not going to lie to a stranger. So I look him in his eyes. I was like, "If my daughter was gay, I would cry tears of joy." Are you insane? I don't have to deal with a Tanner, a Bryce, or a Kyle. At that point, she can even be vegan. I don't care. I feel like a vegan lesbian is just financially responsible anyway, right? All those uses for those fruits and veggies before you even cook them. Right? That's why it's called home economics, guys. I was like, what's the worst I have to worry about if my daughter's gay? Like affording a Subaru for her 16th birthday? A Division I softball scholarship? Paper cut from an aggressive scissoring accident? Slap some Neosporin on it, it'll be fine. Now listen, I know you're born gay. You don't get to choose not to be gay. But can I nurture my daughter into it? That's what I want to know. I got her a couple birthday presents so far this year. I'm going to try. I got her a bunch of new flannel shirts. I got her a book about how to become a PE teacher. And then I'm not a monster, okay? I got her this big Barbie dream house. But instead of coming with a Ken, it just comes with her best friend, Teresa, who for some reason always gets invited to Thanksgiving and confuses grandma, you know? Guys, that is my time. I've had a great time. I hope you have as well. Have a good rest of your evening.